Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music. I want to talk about how you could play a song by Billy Currington called We Are Tonight. And it starts out, we're kind of end up capoing this on the 4th fret to kind of match the recording. But we're going to walk through a couple things in root position. We're going to start on a G major chord. And the way we play G major, first finger goes on the A string on the 2nd fret, second finger on the low E string 3rd fret, and third finger on the high E string 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord and it sounds really happy. Now you may also want to think about putting the 3rd finger on the B string 3rd, pinky on the high E 3rd, kind of working that for your G major. And you'll hear this cool little lick come out around the G major where you can kind of work around the 3rd fret on the high E string and then go to the 5th fret on the high E string. And this is a little weird, I'm kind of using my pinky for this, but kind of going from that 3rd to the 5th can be kind of a cool thing. Or if that's even easier with kind of the regular G major, kind of adding in the pinky, you may want to play around with that, kind of breaking out that lick. Doing downs on that can be a cool way to kind of try and bring out that lick. And then from the G, we go to an E minor chord. And when we play E minor, first finger goes to A on the 2nd fret, second finger on the D string 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, it sounds an E minor and it sounds really sad. Or you may want to think about putting the 3rd finger on the B string 3rd, pinky on the high E 3rd, some combination thereof to kind of work an E minor 7 kind of an idea. And you'll kind of hear that same lick actually, and if you wanted to, you could even kind of use that pinky to kind of go from the 3rd to the 5th to kind of bring out that lick around the E minor. Or if that's easier with the 3rd finger on the high E, add in the pinky, so it may just kind of depend on how your hand's made. Or if you even need to leave the 2nd finger behind, that's okay. Kind of work the 2nd finger to the pinky if you kind of dig on that, kind of keeping the 1st finger on the A 2nd to kind of work that way. And then from the E minor, we go to a D major chord. When we play D major, first finger goes to the G on the 2nd fret, second finger on the high E 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the B string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, it sounds a D major and it sounds really happy. Now you may also want to think about lifting off the 2nd finger, which is sometimes a dangerous finger to lift. But this kind of sounds a D sus too. Or you could take the pinky and kind of add him in on the high E on the 3rd fret for kind of a D suspended chord and kind of say some things around the D chords, which can be kind of cool. And you'll kind of hear that same lick of kind of that 3rd fret on the high E, almost kind of a D sus idea, to the 5th fret on the high E, which you can kind of work with the pinky. Or you may want to kind of readjust the fingers. You may want to do the D sus with kind of 1st finger on the A string 2nd, 2nd finger on the B string 3rd, 3rd finger on the high E 3rd, to kind of get the pinky to work that 5th fret note. So that might be kind of a cool way to kind of work it too. And then from there, then we go to a C major chord. When we play C major, first finger goes to the B string on the 1st fret, second finger on the D string 2nd fret, and 3rd finger on the A string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, it sounds a C major chord and it sounds really happy. Now you may also want to think about lifting off the 1st finger and making that a C major 7. Or you can take the pinky and add him in on the B string 3rd fret, kind of make it a C major 9, kind of sound, kind of say some things around the C chord. Or you could readjust your fingers for a C major 9 by doing 1st finger on the D 2nd, 2nd finger on the A 3rd, 3rd finger on the B string 3rd, pinky on the high E 3rd. C major 9. And around that C major 9, you'll actually just kind of hear just the 3rd fret on the high E string for the lick. So you may just kind of want to work the C that way. And what can be kind of cool through the tune actually is just kind of working that down. So you hear that a good bit actually, kind of that G, G. And I'm kind of working a little bit of muting with that to kind of make it a little bit sneaky. Kind of trying to bring out the lick. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So kind of 8 down idea. Or there's a couple different strumming options you may want to play around with. One of my favorite strum patterns is down, down, up, up, down, up. So if you took the G and tried that a lot, you have down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So we tried that through that intro progression, which really kind of becomes our verse and our chorus. Really, it's kind of G, down, down, up, down, up, E minor, B, C, it'd be kind of a cool way to work it. Or especially on the bridge part, actually, what you'll really kind of hear is almost a 16th note strum pattern feel. And this is a little weird, but what I mean by that is if you're tapping your foot at the beat, Right now we're kind of dividing that into two parts with our down, down, up, down, up. Kind of a 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's called an eighth note. Well, if you divide that into four parts, that's called 16th notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the bridge especially, you'll kind of hear almost a 16th note kind of feel. And one of my favorite 16th note strum patterns is a long down, 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 up, down, down, up, down. And what I mean by that is if you take the G and do it down for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's what you'd be doing on the first beat. Then on the second beat, you do it down on 1, down on 3, up on 4. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Then on the third beat, you're doing up on 2, down on 3. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, down, 1, 2, down, 1, 2, down. And then on the last beat, you're going down, up, down, right along with the 1, 2, 3, 4. So you got down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. So all together, you got down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down, down. And on the bridge, you almost kind of hear that feel, and it's almost like that strum pattern takes the place of two of the down, down, up, down, ups. So it's a little weird because you just do the strum pattern one time on each chord through the bridge. So you have G, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 kind of a big C chord. And then you'll hear these cool little arpeggios or broken chords actually through the bridge. Or you may want to kind of try and break up the chords somehow. It's almost like a little banjo solo, but you may want to kind of play around with breaking it up. And what I'm kind of doing is doing bass for the chord, and then going B, G, E, and then B, G, B with the pick. So if you kind of dig on that, I'm kind of working around that idea, but kind of low E for the bass on the G, and then B, G, E, B, G, B, low E bass, E minor, low E bass. We'll talk more about basses in a minute too. E minor, and then D with a D bass. Second half of the bridge, kind of that chorus return that happens right after our bridge feel. Now the weird part is to play along with Billy Currington, instead of starting on a G major chord, he's starting on a B major chord. So to play along with the recording, what you want to do is take a capo. And if you put this capo on 4th fret, then now your G is really a B major chord. And your E minor is really a G sharp minor chord. And your D major is really an F sharp major chord. And your C major is really an E major chord. But if we take it from the very, very top, actually, you could kind of work that intro with kind of those downs, kind of trying to bring out that lick, and that might be kind of a really cool way to work it. Minor, D, C, C. So we want to kind of play around with that idea. And then from there, we'll be going into our verse part. So we tried our first verse with a down, down, up, down, up. You'd have the G, G, or you may be digging on the downs, or even alternating between them can be very, very cool. D down, down, D, C, C, G, G, E minor, other thing I think about adding to the song though is bass notes, and you could kind of on the first down of the down, down, up, down, up, you could throw in a bass for the chord. So on the G you'd have low E for the bass, on the E minor you'd have low E for the bass, on the bass down, up, down, on the D you'd have the D for the bass, down, down, and on the C you'd have the A for the bass, down, down, and at the very end of our chorus actually hear this cool little hit, okay, where we could kind of take the C chord and kind of work 3 downs at the very, very end of that last C. So we tried our chorus with our strum pattern with basses. We'd have G with low E bass, G with low E bass, G minor with low E bass, E minor with low E bass, D with the D bass, D with the D bass, so you can mix it up a little bit. C with an A bass, C with an A bass, G with low E bass, so you can kind of go back to those downs sometimes and return, and you'll kind of hear just the G idea kind of come back. Kind of working that 3 to 5 idea on the G. And then from there, then we go into our next verse. Now, if you know there are licks around these chords too, feel free to take this lesson and kind of embellish it any way you want to. Or you could kind of take all those ideas we're kind of playing around with and see what you can say around the chords too. And then from there, we'll be going into our next chorus. So we have our G. Into a solo part, and actually hear a couple really cool licks here that kind of come out. And this is a little weird actually. There's 2 ways to think about this because of the capo, but if you went to what would have been 5th fret on the high E string, which is really 9th fret, and you could kind of do a bend there, kind of pressing in and up into the guitar at the same time, and then we kind of do a bend and you play the 5 straight up, and then we go to 3rd fret on the high E, back to 5th on the high E, and then we do the bend again, and then back to 5 just straight up, and then we go back to 3rd fret on the high E, or it would have been 3rd, it's really 7, and then you got the 9th fret on the high E, and then we go to what would have been 8th fret, but it's really 12th fret, and then we go to 11th fret, which is, you could kind of think of as 7th fret, and then there's this cool little walk down on the high E, and now I'm thinking just with not the real frets, kind of relative to the capo. So you got 3rd fret on the high E, which is really 7th fret on the high E, 2nd fret on the high E, which is 6th, and then you got open E, 3rd on the B, 1st fret on the B, and then open B. You kind of follow those notes through the solo part. So all the way through it, you could kind of be thinking 5, 5, 3, 5, 5, bend 5, 3, 5, 5, bend 5, 8, 7, 3, 2, 0, 3, 1, 0. Or if you're thinking the real frets, then you'd be thinking 9th fret, 9, 7, 9, 9, bend 9, 7, 9, 9, bend 9, 12, 11, and then this is the weird part for me, 7, 6, 4, and then 7, 5, 4, kind of working those notes. Now the chord progression actually kind of stays actually with the feel of the verse and the chorus, so you can kind of follow just the rhythm part too. E minor, kind of through that part. And then from there, then we go into our bridge, and you could keep the feel exactly the same, especially if you're just playing it out, or you could change it to the 16th note feel. And then we have kind of that G, down, down, up, down, 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 E minor, down, down, up, down, 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 D, down, down, up, down, 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 and kind of a big C. Or you could add basses to that, and you could make it a bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, or bass, bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, or bass, bass, down, down, up, bass, down, up, down. It'd be very cool. So we tried it that way. You'd have the G, E minor, E, C, and then right after that you'll kind of hear that chorus come in where you may want to kind of play around with the arpeggios of the chord. And the more you kind of work the basses, the easier that can be, and kind of work that as kind of an arpeggio idea, kind of banjo chorus that comes in right after the bridge. Then we go right back, we're kind of into our main chorus progression again. G, D, E minor, D, and then you've got our C hits, and then you hear this cool little lick come in, actually kind of around the C chord, building up into the next chorus, where you could play 3rd on the A, open D, 2 on the D, 4 on the D, open G, and then 2nd fret on the G. Or it kind of follows notes, like a little build up, kind of a C, D, almost kind of work that with the downs. With the chord, which could be cool. So kind of that 3, 0, 2, 4, 0, 2. And I'm kind of doing some muting on that too. So I'm going to kind of play around with that lick too. Actually, it's kind of a build up. And then we'd be back into our chorus. But that's the basics of how you can strum through We Are Tonight by Billy Currington. So good luck!